Shabbat Shalom. Our scripture reading for today is 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 7 through 9. Least I shall be exalted above measures through the abundance of the revelations. There was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me. Least I shall be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Adonai thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for you.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today, there are thorns in my flesh.
There are thorns in my flesh I can't seem to overcome, and these thorns in my flesh just keep on hindering me. Yeah, I really want to be everything that you want me to be, so I'm begging you, yeah, please, please remove these thorns. There are thorns in my flesh I can't seem to overcome, and these thorns just keep on hindering me. Yeah, I really want to be, yeah, everything you want me to be. So, yeah, please remove these thorns. Yeah, I took your words and I hid it in my heart, so I could live as you commanded in this world, but set apart. You said that every promise you would keep if I would lay all of my sins, lay them at your feet. So I'm begging you, yeah, please, please remove these thorns. Take them away, so I can live holy. Take them away. Yeah, I wanna live righteous. Take them away. Yeah, I want to live holy. Take them away.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you're sealed until the day of redemption. That all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you up on earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. We can very well see that the situation and circumstances have brought our culture all of a sudden to the forefront of discussion. These are things that we've been doing for decades, but all of a sudden now it is coming to light. But what also is coming to light is the issues of how we have been dealt with here in this country and abroad. And they wish they could put that genie back in the bottle, but it's too late to try to put it back in the bottle. And Yahweh is going to bring light to the struggles of his people, but he's going to do it in his time. This is just the beginning of those things. And, you know, it's one of those things that I had witnessed a couple years back. All of a sudden you hear people who were Muslim all of a sudden come out and say black people are the real Jews, yet they still worship Islam. So what you're witnessing right now is everybody trying to jump ship to be on the next thing coming. And all of a sudden we this next new thing. Although there's absolutely nothing new about this is that thing where everybody wants to jump and cross over. I looked at a couple of articles, and of course you had a Israelite group who marched at the stadium when when Kyrie was getting back, ready to play, And their article says the leader of the Israelites. So not the group of the Israelites. It said leader of the Israelites. All of a sudden now everybody wants to be, and this was the slickness of the titling of the article, so that this guy will be looked at as if all Israelites listen to him. Now in any other situation, they would have said the pastor of such and such church. They would have said such and such of this mosque. All of a sudden, it's generically put out that this is the leader of the Israelites. Now, when you understand that our enemy is this media, then you understand that they somehow want people to believe that this guy leads all Israelites, and all Israelites listen to this guy. Now, we won't find out till later why they wanted that to be, but we understand that somehow somebody wants that to be believed. So the title of today's sermon is The Quarrel of His Covenant. And when Yahweh deals with the quarrel of his covenant, there are many players in this game, and Yahweh's going to get everybody. See, when Daddy come home and everybody been acting a fool, Daddy don't just come home, you know what, I'm going to whoop the oldest because they should have known better. No. See, when a detailed daddy gets to the house, he starts breaking down every bit of the situation. All right, now, we ain't got to talk about you. You were the oldest. You was in control. We're not even going to discuss. Automatic. Count that whooping. Now, let's get into the individual parts of everybody else under here. Now, depending on what I detect your individual role is, that's going to be your punishment based upon your role in this. And understand, everybody here got a role in it. You know? Matter of fact, who called me and told me this was going on? Nobody? All right, so everybody got a role. All right? So, we're going to take care of each and every individual. That's how Yahweh deals with things. And that's how he's going to deal with the quarrel of his covenant. He's going to go all the way down and understand how he says he deals with anything. Start at my house first. So this is why people believe that they have escaped the judgment of Yahweh our Elohim. Because what he does is he started his own. And that's difficult for us to look at. We're like, look, we already getting dealt with, Yahweh, and you still gonna deal with us? Yeah, because that's the way I do things. I'm gonna start at my house. See, I can't talk about nobody else's house until I deal with mine. I can't deal with anybody else's house till I deal with mine. I can't help you pay your light bill and I ain't paid mine. See, once my light's on, then we have a discussion about, let's see if I can help you with your lights. But I can't help you with my lights and I'm in the dark. That's disrespectful to my family. They tell me, Daddy, why the lights off? Well, you remember James. What they got to do with our lights? So Yahweh going to deal with his house. And he's going to deal with everything about his house. But then he starts dealing with everybody else involved. So what they've been doing is believing that they have escaped judgment while he's been dealing with us. But now they see, wait a minute. It looked like all of a sudden he see us. He never not seen you. He always seen you. He just had to take care of his house first. And he got to give every last one of us the whoopings that we deserve. But now we get to look out the window at their whoopings that's on the way. So let's begin today's sermon in Daniel chapter 6. Daniel chapter 6, and we're going to start that at verse 1. As my teacher would always say, he's hard, but he's fair.
Daniel chapter 6 and verse 1. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them and the kingdom should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king thought to set him over the whole realm.
So this situation is a mirror image of the very things that happen in today's society. You have the powers that be that go and collect power from other nations, and then they look to set someone over them. But they need somebody that they can trust, somebody who speaks their language, somebody who understands how to play both sides, so that they can put these individuals over their business. Because as they start to take over more and more areas, you know, when you look at British rule, they can't be in 50 countries at the same time. So they have to set up some kind of situation where they can govern those people and make it look like self-governing, but they have their own people in place to make sure things go in a way that's beneficial to them. Go ahead.
Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom.
So once he looks as if he's going to promote this individual, now all the hating starts. So we have the same thing that happens here, except they don't pick us as a leader for our righteousness. See, Daniel was picked for a good reason. When we get picked here, it's because they say, all right, we have sent this individual through all of our hazing, our rituals. They have gone through everything. We know that this individual will be obedient. Now let's give them money, power, and influence, and let them direct their people. Go ahead.
But they could find on occasion nor fault, for as much he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his Elohim.
And understand something. Everybody knows that about us as a people. Everybody except us. See, our enemies study our culture. And they say, we know how to find a fault against him. Make them break his law. Because, see, they have those curses over them. So if we keep pushing and we make greater quarrels with them against their Elohim, see, not a quarrel directly with us. See, this is the part that's confusing. You think that those individuals like you, but they are creating a quarrel between you and your God. How? By making sure that you do things that are against the covenant. So the people who smile and look like they are coming to help you, they're hurting you. When all those individuals, we looked at during the civil rights movement, and we saw all these Gentiles come to help us, and we said, you know, man, these are good people. Well, you had a whole lot of the untouchables, if you will, in this group. What did they know about the law of Elohim that they knew was going to cause a quarrel? At this point, all the black communities are together. They operate together. They move together. Somebody thought it would be better if we spread them out. Integration. Because they knew that's going to separate their power. So then we got help from these other entities. And people thought it was good help. But understand something. While they were helping you diversify, they never did. They own whole neighborhoods and own everything in the neighborhood. Every school, every store, everything. So while they were telling you to spread out, every time you left, they bought it. So sometimes, and this is the thing that we get so, twisted in. Sometimes the people that smiling at you the hardest is your biggest enemy. But you're so busy looking at the person that look like they got aggression towards you. That's the person that's trying to get you to walk in this law. We fighting that person. The enemy is the person that's over there smiling at you, offering you help. Go ahead.
Verse 6. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said thus unto the king, King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom and governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute.
All except Daniel. So then they have gotten a group together to see, all right, this is the only way that we're going to find a problem. So we have to make a issue between the law of his God and the law of the land. See, this is what, you get those, they call them moderate brews now today. These supposed to be the middle of the road Hebrews. All right. This is where the moderate brews say, you need to obey the laws of the land. See, a moderate brew would have turned. Danielle is not a moderate brew. This is what everybody wants, the moderate brews. The people all of a sudden you're seeing in the videos who look just like Christian, but they keep talking about they Israelite. You know them? Yeah, those are your moderate brews. They do everything Christian except a few things, and they say, oh, we Hebrews. Those moderate brews. To them, we're radical because we believe in culture. See, the moderate brew will walk in here with his shirt tucked in his pants and with a tie on, with all his private parts showing, and think something wrong with us. Brother, why your shirt so long? Because our culture says that my loins must be covered. Now, you're going to have to fix that or get on the other side of that door. Moderate brews don't have that problem. You just come on in. Just come on in however you want to come on in. Just come on in. God welcomes everybody. Danielle is not a moderate brew. If he was, he wouldn't have been in this upcoming situation. He would have leaned. Go ahead.
And to make a firm decree, that whosoever shall ask a petition of any el or a man for 30 days, save of you, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions.
Now understand something. People may look at this and say, that was during ancient times. No, pause for a second. Danielle is in the same situation we're in. Daniel's not in his land. He's in captivity. He refuses to obey the law of the land over the law of his Elohim. Go ahead.
Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which alters not.
This is how a king gets tied up even in his own stuff. He doesn't even see the slickery that's happening because he doesn't have a problem with Danielle. The other people have a problem with Danielle. Go ahead.
Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his El as he did aforetime.
A moderate brew wouldn't have prayed at all. A moderate brew, if they went to pray, they would sure have closed those windows. They would have went in the basement. Go ahead.
Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his El.
They assembled. Check that out. Some people get together to catch you doing this, to catch you doing that. Do you understand that they had a group set together to catch him praying? Aha! Gotcha. You assembled a group to catch me praying? Go ahead.
Then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Have you not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any el or man within 30 days, save of you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, The thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which alters not.
Uh-huh.
Then answered they and said,
Now first they got him to commit to the law. See? They got him to commit to his own writing, which alters not. They are reminding him, remember now, the law can't change. Remember that. Go ahead.
Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Yehuda,
That Daniel. Go ahead.
regards not you, O king, nor the decree that you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him.
Right. He was so displeased in himself because he realized something. My vanity got me into this. They appealed unto my vanity and got me to set an unrighteous decree. They made me feel like it was about me. They said, if anybody make any petition, save to you. This is about making you feel great and grandiose. He realized he is displeased in himself because he realized my vanity got me into this. Now an innocent man is about to be thrown to the lions because I let some people come up to me and appeal unto my vanity. Go ahead.
Then these men assembled unto the king, and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persian is, that no decree nor statute with the king established may be changed.
Now you see that they continuously remind him of his law after they tricked him into making it. Same thing going on in Washington every year. People push bills that they ain't even read. They'll be talking about a law and the person said, well, according to the law that you put, what? When the law is in there? You know what that is in there? That law be 400 pages. They didn't even write it. There are groups that write the laws for them. Then they push the bill. The person who's so-called sponsoring it, the lawmaker, has not read the bill that he's pushing. An independent group wrote it. So they have laced it with all these things, all this trickery, and their ways to rule over people and business. That person only highlights one thing in that law. But there's 200 things in that law that they're going to use. They might pass a farm bill that does something and got something to do with your car insurance. You turn around, your car insurance go up, you like, what happened? You know, the farm bill. Farm bill? What do I do with my insurance? You obviously didn't read page 87. I didn't read page 1. These are the games that they play with us. Same thing happens today. Go ahead, bro.
Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, Your Elohim, whom you serveth continually, he will deliver you.
All right, so even in this situation, you have a powerful entity who wants to save one of our people, but does not believe, even he being the king, that he has the ability to save this man outright. So it becomes tricky when trying to save one of the children of Israel. Let's go to Obadiah chapter 1. So when one of the first things that we have to get here, before we get into how some of these things are done, we have to get into why some of these things are done. So what you're looking at is a proof that how you cause a problem with the children of Israel is causing a quarrel concerning the covenant that we agreed to. Remember, it was the children of Israel that stood before the mount. All that Yahweh have said will we do. Now, remember what the trickster said? Remember, king, you signed the law, which alters not. So the whole part is in agreement. Get them to sign the agreement, then use the agreement over them. What have all these people been arguing about what happens in Hollywood? What did Dave Chappelle say about what's happening in Hollywood? He said they get you to sign some papers, but they have laced that paper with trickery. So the paperwork is so confusing that you have to hire a lawyer. The lawyer looks over the paperwork and says, yeah, it's good, sign it. 3 years later, you find out that lawyer know that lawyer. You never had a representative in this meeting. You paid him to represent you, but he was not representing you. He was representing his little group. Obadiah chapter 1, we're going to start that at verse 10.
The vision of Obadiah. Thus says the Adonai Yahweh concerning Edom.
Jump to verse 10.
Okay, sorry about that.
Not a problem.
For your violence against your brother Jacob, shame shall cover you, and you shall be cut off forever.
All right, so you have a family quarrel, if you will, and there's certain things that are understood. Go ahead.
In the day that you stood on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even you was as one of them. But you should not have looked on the day of your brother in the day he became a stranger. Neither should you have rejoiced over the children of Yehudah in the day of their destruction. Neither should you have spoken proudly in the day of distress. You should not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yes, you should not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity.
So when all of this oppression is coming toward us, you have entities that are there, and at a certain point, it looked like they were us until the invasion happened. And somehow they don't get hurt. They just helping the other people consume our goods. Go ahead.
Neither should you have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither should you have delivered up those of his that did remain in the day of distress.
Right, and that had to truly bother them, because you have to look at how the infiltration has happened to the point that temple was known as Herod's temple. When you deal with this, you have Edomites all up in this situation. So they have merged with our people, acting as though, hey, we cool. Exact same thing during the civil rights movement. We believe that we are getting help. What we are getting help is help being destroyed. Go ahead.
For the day of Yahweh is near upon all the heathen. As you have done, it shall be done unto you. Your reward shall return upon your own head. For as you have drunk upon my holy mountain, so shall all the heathen drink continually. Yes, they shall drink, and they shall swallow down, and they shall be as though they had not been. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance, and there shall be holiness, and the house of Jacob shall possess their possessions. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them, and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh hath spoken it.
So when you get down to situations like this, then that's Yahweh who is going to deal with that situation. When we try to take matters in our own hand, we're gonna turn around and bring forth judgment on the wrong individuals. This is why you let him do his job, and then you do your job. So to keep Yahweh from doing his job, the powers that be need to keep a quarrel between us and our Elohim. When you consider how the nations rule over the made-up area that they call the Middle East, North Africa, they make sure that a quarrel is going. See, when those individuals are constantly quarreling with each other, then an outside entity gets to come in and control the resources. How you have countries who have oil that you need, yet they broke? How are those countries broke? If they have oil and you want the oil. You keep a quarrel going, and you get to get their resources at dirt cheap prices. Now let's go into some of how those things have been done. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 17. So we see of why these things are being done, because basically the powers that be want to keep the control that they have deceptively gotten. They want to keep that control. So now there are things that they need to do to make sure that they're able to hold on to it. Leviticus chapter 17, and I want to read verses 6 through 16.
And the priest shall sprinkle the blood upon the altar of Yahweh at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and burn the fat for a sweet savor unto Yah. And they shall no more offer their sacrifices unto devils, after whom they have gone a whoring. This shall be a statute forever unto them throughout their generations. And you shall say unto them, Whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers which sojourn among you, that offers a burnt offering or sacrifice, and brings it not unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, to offer it unto Yahweh.
Wait a minute. I want y'all to remember some of the dialogue that we've had recently about Thanksgiving. And somebody just sent a thing going through the history of Thanksgiving, texted it, and it was talking about, the first one that they did here was 1621, but basically it was harvest rituals, and Yahweh already has a harvest feast for us. So when we do any other harvest feast, we either dealing with a different God, because they have gods that they are worshiping for their harvest feast. Listen to what this law says, because sometimes people will misconstrue one law and think that it's going to override another one. No, you took that one out of context, because I need you to hear something. Verse 9, read it from the top.
And brings it not unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, to offer it unto Yahweh. Even that man shall be cut off from among his people.
All right, so Thanksgiving was at who house? I'm sorry, was it at Yahweh's house? Where they had Thanksgiving at? They had it at their house. It was at Big Mama house, right? So you offered that unto Big Mama. It says, verse 8, and you shall say unto them that whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel or of the strangers which sojourn among you, which offers a burnt offering or sacrifice, what they think they cooking? Why you think you put fire to that meal? See, we want to hear thanksgiving, not understand giving is offering. Thanks offering, you set fire to it, did you? Did you offer those greens raw? Oh, I'm sorry, you cooked them greens, right? Okay, so you put a fire, so you offered a burnt offering. Now, verse 9, and brings it not unto the door of the tabernacle. Did anybody remember opening the church? Who got here first? Who got here first? Who was the first one to get here? You the first one to get here?
Not for that.
Who was the first one to get here? Did you see any food at the door? Okay. All right. So they didn't do that for Yahweh then. Okay. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 10. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eats any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eats blood, and will cut him off from among his people.
Right. And the first thing you do, you go in a restaurant, and them people got a problem with you. They got a problem with you, when you say, I like mine well done. Well, you just want me to burn it then. Man, set it on fire, bro. Go ahead.
For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that makes an atonement for the soul.
So when you understand the purpose of the blood is set for atonement because there's life in the blood. Therefore, you can't eat that. I remember seeing some of the some stuff that just grossed me out so bad, because they have this culture in Africa that if you swallow the blood of an animal, you get his essence, his power. So you watch one of the Africans get a sharp stick and poke the neck of the ox and sit under him as the blood is pouring out of his neck and drink the blood directly coming out of his neck. I was so grossed out I didn't know what to do. But you see how certain beliefs, once we get them and they keep passing them down, man, ain't no telling what all kind. You mess around with a disease that they can't even figure out. You be the first man with mad cow disease. Hey, bro, how you get mad cow disease? You not a cow. Go ahead.
Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourns among you eat blood. And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunts and catches any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof, and cover it with dust. For it is the life of all flesh. The blood of it is for the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, you shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of all flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eats it shall be cut off. And every soul that eats that which died of itself, or that which was torn with beasts, whether it be one of your own country or a stranger, he shall both wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the even, then shall he be clean. But if he wash them not, nor bathe his flesh, then he shall bear his lawlessness.
Right. You know, and this is a situation if you just end up in this situation where you have consumed this blood. So when you look at that and understand the law, just to make sure that you know that your adversary understands that, when we go to the next graphic, how many of y'all remember, and you younger people will not remember, the movie called The Golden Child that Eddie Murphy did? The Golden Child is this gifted entity. You know, he can say, he's supposed to be the one to save the earth. Now, there's somebody in there who plays the adversary, the devil. He's Lucifer. What he attempts to do to defile the golden child is he feeds them this porridge, but he got blood mixed in the food. So his attempt is to defile the golden child from inside out. Understanding the covenant, then our enemies are doing the same thing to us that they're doing to the golden child. Because you're the golden children. See, there's certain things that you have to pay attention to. When you look at this movie, wait till you read all the credits at the bottom, at the back of it, and you find out all these other names that's not us. So they understood there's some mockery going on where they executive produce and make sure that this film is coming out where they're trying to defile the golden child by defiling what he eats. Who do you think the golden children are? Right. Go ahead, bro.
And just another joke just came to me. And when you look at the two main characters, Afro-Asiatic.
Right. You got the black man and the Asian woman, and then you have the Gentile who's Lucifer, who's trying to feed, who puts the blood in the porridge. See, we don't even understand the stuff that's happening right in front of us. I sure didn't get that when I watched the Golden Child. I used to mimic parts of the movie. I want the knife. That part didn't stick out to me like that. I didn't correlate that with scripture. I'm too busy thinking about, I want the knife, please. So stuff will slip by you. There are certain things that are there, but it's only available to you if you already know. It's not available. It's not there to teach you. It is there. If you already know, you will be like, oh, no. I know what they're saying with this. This is how it's entertainment to one group of people. It is a proclamation of power to another group of people. Because they get together. Look at how we mocking them. And they don't even, they don't even know it. They bought tickets. We mock them. And they pay us to mock them. You only know when you know. Go ahead, Brother Jason.
Yes, sir. Just like when you're talking about, we know the law says we're not supposed to eat blood. And you can talk to some people and you can mention it to them that they're eating blood. And they say, no, I don't eat blood. But then they'll take something and fry it up. Take the remainders, which is the blood and the grease and all that, put flour in it, put water in it, and make gravy out of it. But they say they don't eat blood, but you're still eating blood.
Right. You just mix that stuff right up in there. We can see there's certain ways. There's so much trickery that we have become subject to. And once you get us accustomed to certain things, it doesn't seem that way. Like the person who says, I don't eat pork, and then you watch him and, he's, bruh, that's a ham sandwich. No, this is not pork, it's ham. Bro, you like what they call understanding. You don't understand that that's pork. No. Or the cat was like, no, this bologna. This bologna. Everybody grew up on bologna, bruh. Bruh, you can't eat that, bruh. But see, once we get told that something is something else, you stop looking. Like people will question us about why are you an Israelite? Yet they will be a Methodist and can't tell you the difference between a Methodist, a Baptist, an Episcopal. They can't tell you any of that. But they have no problems requiring you to explain what you are. But they can't explain what they are. And they don't see anything wrong with that. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 4. And my whole family grew up Baptist. I can't tell you why we were Baptist. I mean, people say, well, they believe in baptism. So did the Lutherans. So why they not Lutheran Baptists? What's the difference? They don't know. But they'll run up and question you and put you in the hot seat, and you sit up there and take it instead of asking them. All right, well, I ask you the same question. Why are you a Methodist? Well, because what we believe in is a methodical method of Methodicism. See? Oh, okay. Right. You don't know either, right? Right. Ezekiel chapter 4, and let's start that at verse 1.
You also, son of man, take you a tile and lay it before you, and portray upon it the city, even Jerusalem, and lay siege against it, and build a fort against it, and cast a mount against it. Set the camp also against it, and set battering rams against it round about. Moreover, take you unto you an iron pan, and set it for a wall of iron between you and the city, and set your face against it, and it shall be besieged, and you shall lay siege against it. This shall be a sign to the house of Israel. Lie you also upon your left side, and lay the lawlessness of the house of Israel upon it. According to the number of the days that you shall lie upon it, you shall bear their lawlessness.
Now, it's times that I read things like this when you listen to these confused people who claim that they are Israelites and claim that anybody who's reading is prophesying. You know, when you look at what these prophets had to go through, I would not be signing myself up to be a prophet, because he's making him live out the prophecy, or he has to act out the prophecy of what's going to happen to Israel. Oh, this is some very traumatic stuff. There's one thing when he said, go and tell them such and such. No, I need you to give them a visual. What you mean a visual? I need you to give them a visual. I need you to lay down on the ground on your side for these many days. What? I can't send no email? What if I text it? You know, I'm good with Photoshop. No, I need you to go down there. I need you to lay on the ground. Make this right here and lay down on the ground in front of it. Go ahead.
For I have laid upon you the years of their lawlessness, according to the number of the days, 390 days. So shall you bear the lawlessness of the house of Israel.
390 days. You understand? He just gave you a year's service. Plus. Go ahead.
And when you have accomplished them, lie again on your right side.
Come on, man. That ain't even, I ain't there. What? Some boy can't do nothing for 390 minutes. You talking about 390 days? You tell, all right, I need you to do this for 390 minutes. Come back in an hour. What a boy that was supposed to be here.
Man, I saw you wasn't here, and I said, surely he don't, surely.
I told you Shirley is always somewhere.
Surely he didn't want me to keep doing this. I mean, if he wanted me to keep doing this, he would have stayed here.
Right. Go ahead.
And you shall bear the lawlessness of the house of Yehuda 40 days. I have appointed you each day for a year. Therefore you shall set your face toward the siege of Jerusalem, and your arm shall be uncovered, and you shall prophesy against it.
So you see then that there is some method, there's some poetic significance in the way Yahweh does things. A day for a year. Go ahead.
And behold, I will lay bands upon you, and you shall not turn you from one side to another, till you have ended the days of your siege.
Now you know everybody think he crazy, right? See, here come the cult word here.
Look at Ezekiel. He in some kind of old strange cult. You know what I'm saying? He over there tied up, sitting on the ground, and then he turned to one side, and then he stay on that side. He been on that side 300-something days. He over there smoking some mountain crack. I don't know what's wrong with him. That crack ain't even fell down the mountain yet.
Go ahead.
Take you also unto you wheat and barley and beans and lentils and millet and fitches, and put them in one vessel, and make you bread thereof, according to the number of the days that you shall lie upon your side. 390 days shall you eat thereof.
You got to make 300 now. You got to take you enough stuff to keep doing this. Sometimes Yahweh give you a job. See, we only want the easy jobs from Yahweh. Go ahead.
And your meat which you shall eat shall be by weight, 20 shekels a day. From time to time shall you eat it. You shall drink also water by measure. The 6th part of an hin, from time to time shall you drink. And you shall eat it as barley cakes.
Uh-huh.
And you shall bake it with dung that comes out of man in their sight.
Wait a minute. So Yahweh asked him to make real Krabby Patties. He gonna give you all these ingredients. That's it. That's just like Yahweh. He don't give you the crap ingredient to last. By the way, bake it with dookie. What? You should have started with that. You know what I'm saying? Get your lentils. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Get your fishes. Get all that. Oh, and by the way, put it in that dookie. What? Some of us, we done being a servant. That. You know what? You know what, Yahweh? You know what? I'm out. I can't do that right there. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whether I will drive them.
All right. Now understand. This then becomes part of the punishment. So then when we get to the defiling of the food, a lot of us are ready to go helter-skelter. We're ready to jump off the building. But understand how we got here. Understand how we got here. This is part of your punishment. You put yourself in this predicament. Go ahead.
I mean, when you put it like that, brother, and we look at all the ingredients, we just saw a video of what we talking about, what they doing, abortus fetuses and all that type of stuff, and the food and this and that. Bro, we surely living this out.
Right. And see, we think that we can somehow get out of it. And we like, you know what? I'm gonna be just like the golden child. I'm gonna get a leaf. Golden child had one leaf. He put one leaf in there. See if you live with that one leaf. Go ahead. Go ahead. Come on, Cletus. Come on. Take your leaf. I won't see you come in here next week. Don't bring no food. Don't feed him. Just give him nothing but those leaves. And don't put nothing on the leaf either. Don't try to put nothing on the leaf. Just you and the leaf. Right, we're going to have to carry them all out of here. What else? It passed up. They had no energy to do nothing. Go ahead.
Then said I, Adonai Yahweh, behold, my soul has not been polluted. For from my youth up even till now have I not eaten of that which dies of itself.
Remember, the covenant. Come on now, I'm keeping the covenant. And you going to ask me to do this? Go ahead.
Or is torn in pieces. Neither came there abominable flesh into my mouth.
I have never eaten anything common or unclean. Go ahead.
Then he said unto me, Lo, I have given you cow's dung for man's dung.
Whew. Now, and that's supposed to be a help. So he just gave you different dookie. All right. This is Yahweh's compromise? All right. Because depending on the one thing you know about a cow, it ate grass.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it ate. If he told you to get man's dung, now you got to figure out which man. No, Suck eat too much meat. Now you trying to find as many vegetarians as possible. Hey, brother. Hey, come here. Can I talk to you for a second? Now you want to ask that brother, you know, when you, so when you relieve yourself, do you flush it? You think I can keep some of it? Now how you ask somebody for their fecal matter? You know what I'm saying? Who do you get to go and get their fecal matter? Bruh, you think Yahweh, everything he asks you is going to be easy? You surely cannot be, believe that you are serving. This is how you know those people who just come to hang out. They in the shindiggery. As soon as something get difficult, pew. And this, my friend, is difficult. A lot of us say what we would or would not have done. For one, I would like to thank Yahweh that he did not ask me this. I want to thank you for my troubles. And matter of fact, I want to apologize when I whine to you, Abba Father, about my troubles. I apologize. I have been wrong to you. Please forgive me. Because the day he asked me to eat a Krabby Patty, man, that is going to be, that's pretty difficult right there. Go ahead, brother. Keep going.
And you shall prepare your bread therewith. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I'll break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment.
So all of this is to give them a visual of what they're going to have to do. So understand, he has a purpose in this defiling. Because this one man is doing it, but he's saying, oh no, the whole nation's going to have this problem. See, I want them to see it. So later on down the line, when it happened to them, I want them to remember you. I want them to see in their mind. Remember, I tried to tell you what was going to happen to you if you kept doing this. Go ahead.
That they may want bread and water and be astonished one with another and consume away for their lawlessness.
All right, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. And we're going to read a couple of things out of here. Deuteronomy 28, and we're going to start at verse 45.
Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you, and shall pursue you and overtake you, till you be destroyed, because you hearken not unto the voice of Yahweh your El, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded you.
So, moreover, all these curses shall come upon you and shall pursue you and overtake you. This is all about the quarrel of the covenant. Okay? You have agreed, and because you have not kept that agreement, now here are the things that are going to be presented unto you. Go ahead.
And they shall be upon you for a sign and for a wonder, and upon your seed forever. Because you serve not Yahweh your Elohim with joyfulness, and with gladness of heart, for the abundance of all things.
Right. So if your enemy understands this, then your enemy understands the way to keep their power over you is to make sure that you never renew the things of the covenant. Go ahead.
Therefore shall you serve your enemies which Yahweh shall send against you, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things.
Wait a minute. He gave us a law as far as a culture, as far as dress. It was the curse that we was half naked. We don't even see that when we get ready to walk half naked today.
What we say, you know what I like to do? I like to try on some of these curses. Let's see if this curse fit.
That was part of the curse. He took away your ability to even clothe and cover yourself. Go ahead.
And he shall put a yoke of iron upon your neck until he have destroyed you.
And no other nation can present an image such as this that's not doctored. Go ahead.
Yahweh shall bring a nation against you from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies.
And we know that Rome has the eagle as their emblem, and so does America. Go ahead.
A nation whose tongue you shall not understand.
Right. Then you have people that boast and say, we've always spoken the language. Right. That pretty much let us know that this is not you that they're talking about. Go ahead.
A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young.
Uh-huh.
And he shall eat the fruit of your cattle and the fruit of your land until you be destroyed, which also shall not leave you either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of your kind, or flocks of your sheep, until he have destroyed you.
Right. We raised all the animals. We cooked all of the food. Yet we starved. This is how our people developed the whole thing of cooking chitlins. See, that was what they called low on the hog. The slave master didn't like those parts of the hog. He cut those parts off, threw them over the fence to the slaves. So the slaves, as much as Gentiles love themselves some pig, they'll put the whole pig in. You look at some of them old movies, they got the whole pig sitting there with the apple in his mouth. I tell you what, show me any one of them where you seen them eat the pig feet. Only people you ever seen eating pig feet is us. Them part they cut off the pig, threw them to the slaves. The slaves found a way to cook them nasty chitterlings. Because anybody who smells that knows that's not supposed to be consumed. But when you're starving, you try to figure out a way. That was all a part of our punishment. And we show that we are still walking in the curses when we walk down the street with a pickled pig feet stuck out our mouth. Go ahead.
And he shall besiege you in all your gates until your high and fenced walls come down when you trusted throughout all your land. And he shall besiege you in all your gates throughout all your land, which Yahweh your Elohim has given you. And you shall eat the fruit of your own body.
Wait a minute. You had mentioned the video, and we're gonna get into that because there was some interesting things in there. Part of that where they're taking using this to flavor food, but listen to the punishment. You shall eat the fruit of your own body. Go ahead.
The flesh of your sons and of your daughters, which Yahweh your Elohim has given you, in the siege and in the straitness wherewith your enemies shall distress you.
So, this thing was pushed forward by Yahweh. No. I'm finna show you what happened when you don't follow the culture that I've given unto you. No. I'm finna show you. I'm gonna tell you, remember, he says, oh, I am a great Elohim. I declare the end before the beginning. Here we are, we see some things now. We say, oh my God, this is foul. Wait a minute, this is in the beginning of the book. What are you talking about? Why are we thrown off? So a whole bunch of people seen this video. Oh man, Jake about to pass out. They putting what in the fruit? It's in the beginning of the book. See, when you understand certain things, it should make you want to keep your culture that much stronger. Go ahead.
So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he has nothing left him in the siege and in the straitness wherewith your enemies shall distress you in all your gates.
This is one of the things that's very, very difficult to read. When people start going into this book and reading it, they get to some of these parts and they're like,
You know what? Skip down. I don't. I think that was just sort of like an allegory. I don't think. So I don't know what God was on right there. I mean, Moses might have put this in here himself. He was up there in the mountains for a long time. That air's thin up there. So, Moses could have been just a tad bit high. I mean, he was high figuratively. So maybe mentally he was high when he did this, because I don't see that.
We couldn't possibly see. How? Go ahead.
The tender, delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that comes out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith your enemies shall distress you in your gates.
Right. And when they locked up those gates and boxed them in, a whole lot of things start happening in Israel. But we thinking, okay, this is the only way that can happen. But understand, those who seek a quarrel know how to make that happen unto you. Keep going.
If you will not observe to do all these words of this law that are written in this book, that you may fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahweh your Elohim, then Yahweh will make your plagues wonderful, and the plagues of your seed, even great plagues, and of long continuance, and sore sickness, and of long continuance. Moreover, he will bring upon you all the diseases of Egypt, which you was afraid of, and they shall cleave on to you. Also every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law.
Stop. Yahweh said there's some things that I'm going to make happen to you. I can't even possibly put in here because they ain't been invented yet. Finish the rest of that line.
Then will Yahweh bring upon you until you be destroyed.
All right. Now, as we go to the next graphic, the video that Priest Kish was talking about is a video that was going into this thing. I remember asking this question, but I didn't research it, but I felt very skeptical about it when you're reading the back of ingredients and it says natural flavors. And I said, what the hell is natural flavors? When you go through this video and it was going to how they were using kidney cells from aborted fetuses and use that additive in the food and call it natural flavors. So then as you're dealing with these things and we're saying this and we're flipping out. Like, oh my God, this is foul. I can't believe this. Wait a minute. Go back to the covenant. What did he tell you? What did he say? So here we are when these things are presented unto us, we're thrown off. Now, take a look on the other side. And I don't know if you guys really pay attention now. You got to shop in some different areas. Find out where the untouchable store is. Find out where the ish store is in your in the nearest area. Go in there and watch. There's a whole different section. You know how there's a section for the Hispanics? They have the whatever that aisle is they call it. This is where they have the soft drinks that don't even have high fructose corn syrup in it. You didn't even know they made drinks that didn't have high fructose corn syrup in it. Go down the aisle with the Tostitos on it, and you start seeing a whole bunch of stuff. Well, go to one of those other stores, especially during Passover. This is going to be a treat for you. Walk in the store, there's a whole Passover section. All of this stuff has been gone through. So now keep in mind, in our neighborhood, most of those stores that we looked at, we say, this is a white store. Those stores were Jewish owned. Where were we getting all of these bad products? They were coming from these stores. Here's the thing. They're not eating it, though. They're just selling it to you. So this is something that Priest Kish was saying. He noticed when he went to some of the Asian restaurants, the Asians not eating that. They feeding it to you. So when we consider some of these things, we sometimes look at one entity, but not really pay attention to where, some of these things are coming from. So when you go back to the golden child, the Gentile put the blood in the porridge. Do you know when you look up one of those things, the Quaker Oats was one of those things? Oh, so he really did put blood in the porridge. So that wasn't just a movie. Interesting. Let's go to John chapter 6. But you have to also understand how the devil plays games. Because remember now, he would be just like the Most High. Okay? He will be just like the Most High. So then when you see Yahweh tell his prophet, do this and make it with dung. Wait a minute, Yahweh, you way out there. No. Maybe you don't understand when I avenged the quarrel of my covenant. I don't think you understand. It is beneficial to you that you walk in this covenant. Because when you don't, all this other stuff starts happening to you. And we're going around confused. Man, why they treat us like this? Why we go through this? Man, here I did all this, and it really confused us once we get some money, and it still happened. We think, I got out of the hood for this very reason. It followed me here. Right. Yohanan chapter 6, and let's start that at verse 48.
I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which comes down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever.
Now, so understand that the adversary, the devil, understands the order of how things go. And what he like to do is beat Yahweh to the punch. Because we have a tendency to believe that whoever tells their story first must be the truthful one. So then the adversary makes sure that he races to get to you first. See, before you heard about this word, you had heard about many others. Some of y'all was Christians, Muslims. There might be some few Hare Christians in here. There's some Buddhists. Some of y'all probably still got some chakra stuff at your house right now. He in a rush to get to you before you hear the truth. Some of y'all heard word from other Hebrew camps before you got here. The adversary need to get to you first so that when you hear the truth, you'll fight it. Go ahead.
And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world.
Now, this is throwing our people off. All right, wait a minute, man. We've been punished and our folk had to eat. And you going to come in here talking about some flesh? Go ahead.
The Yehudis therefore strove among themselves, saying, How can this man give us his flesh to eat? Then Yahshua said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you.
Wait a minute now. Now we got a law that says the life is in the blood. But see, so the adversary says, I know what their Christ is going to have to do. I'm going to defile them with this flesh and blood. Go ahead.
Whoso eats my flesh and drinks my blood has eternal life, and I'll raise him up at the last day.
He didn't say he was going to go to heaven. And he said raise up. He didn't say bring down. Go ahead.
For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eats my flesh and drinks my blood dwells in me, and I in him. As the living Father has sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eats me, even he shall live by me. This is that bread which came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna, and are dead. He that eats of this bread shall live forever.
Right. So this is the spiritual manna. They had physical manna, which was only a foreshadowing of him. Go ahead.
These things said he in the synagogue as he taught in Capernaum.
Okay. Let's go to Matthew chapter 26. And while we're talking about that video that you guys seen, some of you have seen, there's a documentary that some of our members have done. Brother Yahushua and his wife, Shekaniah from Canada. And I seen most of it before my phone stopped. It was a awesome documentary on You Are What You Eat. And if I can get it up, we may watch it today. And I want to, congratulate them on doing a fine job with that. I haven't gone through everything. It is in the rough stages or the draft or whatever, but I may watch the draft again today. It was just that good, what I saw. Let's go to Matthew chapter 26, and I want to read verses 26 through 29.
And as they were eating, Yahshua took bread and blessed it and brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, Take, eat, this is my body.
So he automatically knew that he was going to give a different substitute for his physical flesh. Go ahead.
And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, Drink you all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins.
Right. So then he also knew that he was going to have something that was going to be a substitute for his blood. But remember, the adversary, the devil, also knows this story too. So he wants you to eat defiled meat and defiled blood. Go ahead.
But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom.
All right. Now let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 11. First Corinthians chapter 11, and we're going to start that at verse 17.
Now in this that I declare unto you, I praise you not, that you come together not for the better, but for the worse. For first of all, when you come together in the church, I hear that there be divisions among you, and I partly believe it. For there must be also heresies among you, that they which are approved may be made manifest among you.
Right, and you have to pay attention. You know, we want to come and partake of Yahweh's Sabbath, and we want to have a peaceful time. But you have to pay attention to what's written. There must be heresies among you, so that he can show who is supposed to be there and who's not. We don't want to deal with the heresies. But to show who is approved, I need to let the heresy happen. Why? Because the heresy is going to pull people. And the people who survive, those are people that's supposed to be there. Sometimes you look at something, you say, man, it's a shame that that person got pulled out dealing with this person. No, it's not. That is what was supposed to happen. That heresy was designed to pull the individuals who are not rooted in the word. It did what it was supposed to do. Go ahead.
When you come together, therefore, into one place, this is not to eat the Adonai supper. For in eating, everyone takes before other his own supper, and one is hungry and another is drunken. What? Have you not houses to eat and to drink in? Or despise you the church of Elohim, and shame them that have not? What shall I say to you? Shall I praise you in this? I praise you not. For I have received of the Adonai that which also I delivered unto you, that the Adonai Yahshua, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, Take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup, when he had supped, saying, This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do you, as oft as you drink it, in remembrance of me. For as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you do show the Adonai's death till he come.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Adonai unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Adonai. But let a man examine himself, so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup.
Uh-huh.
For he that eats and drinks unworthily eats and drinks damnation to himself, not discerning the Adonai's body.
Right. And before we entered into this truth, they used to have communion every month. Line us all up, give us a not an unleavened cracker, but a leavened cracker. Leaven represents sin, so they give us a sin cracker. Then they would give us not wine, but grape juice. So we would partake in fake body and fake blood, because it wouldn't be wine, because the church is way too holy to have real wine. So then they had to have grape juice. So we had fake body and fake blood, and we took it every month. And nobody asked any qualifications of whether or not you believed or anything. The adversary attacks you on all ends. You think, you know what, I'll just go to church. Yeah, he there. You know what, I ain't going to church this year, I'm going to go to the club. Oh, he is definitely there. Wherever you go, he going there too. Go ahead.
For this cause many are weak and sickly among you, and many sleep.
Uh-huh.
For if we would judge ourselves, we should not be judged.
Right. So, when you talk about judging ourselves that we should not be judged, there are things that we are most definitely guilty of. But if you take care of dealing with chastising yourself, sacrificing in the right way, then you can get to a point where those things ain't brought up at your trial. We don't really consider what that means. The children of Israel were brought through a wall of water coming out of Egypt for a reason. They had to be baptized against all them sins that they committed, known and unknown. See, we know the things that we can pray to Yahweh about. There's some things that we have done we don't even know to pray about. Like eating some food that done had aborted fetus mess in it. You don't even know to pray about that because you didn't know it happened. He sent them through this wall of water for a reason. Go ahead.
But when we are judged, we're chastened of the Adonai, that we should not be condemned with the world.
You understand that? When we are judged, we are chastened. so that we should not be condemned. You want to be chastened so that you are not condemned. We keep trying to get everything on easy.
I can't believe Sock said that again. He hurt my feelings.
You have options. You want to have hurt feelings or hurt behind?
Hurt feelings, please.
Which one you want? Which one you want? He says, if you receive the chastening from him, you will not be condemned with the world. Go ahead.
Wherefore, my brethren, when you come together to eat, tarry one for another. And if any man hunger, let him eat at home, that you come not together unto condemnation. And the rest will I set in order when I come.
All right, let's go to Acts chapter 28. See, we know that the foulness has been going on for a long time. We know about these frankenfoods that they've put out. You know, there's certain things that we see that we are thrown off because we didn't even know that an actual fruit or vegetable was that color, because they lie to us so much and give us something, you know, and put so many preservatives in things. You see something and don't know what you're looking at. You see a real potato and it get brown and you like, well, what is this? Because that McDonald's French fry stayed in the back of your trunk for 6 months. And it looked exactly the way that it looked the day it fell out the Happy Meal. Now, how the hell that fry still look exactly like it looked? You remember when your child dropped the fry. You just dropped them fries in my car. Yay. All right, I get it up later. But you miss a fry. 6 months later, you remember the incident. That fry look exactly the same. There's something seriously wrong with that fry. Why does that fry look exactly the same? Go ahead, brother.
You know, fungus usually would take natural stuff to help in decomposition, which doesn't happen with that fry. So now you got to wonder, why is not the fungus attracted to it?
The other question, what is it doing inside you when you eat it? What else is not happening? Go ahead.
Acts chapter 28 and verse 1. And when they were escaped, then they knew that the island was called Melita. And the barbarous people showed us no little kindness, where they kindled a fire, and received us everyone because of the present rain and because of the cold. And when Saul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on the fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand. And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hang on his hand, they said among themselves, no doubt this man is a murderer, whom, though he had escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffers not to live.
So he's got two things. They already say, you know, hey, the sea was troublesome and he made it. But now, why did this snake bite him? He must be a devil. Why would God even let a snake bite this man? Go ahead.
And he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm. Howbeit, they looked when he should have swollen or fallen down dead suddenly.
Because that's what would have happened to them. That's what they've seen happen to other people. I need for y'all to pay attention. Go ahead.
But after they had looked a great while and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god.
They changed their minds and said he was a god. Understand, the same poison that comes among other people, you may consume the same poison, but it ain't gonna do what it did to them. You look at this thing and it's talking about snake venom. Go back to some of those documentaries when they start talking about the COVID, and a lot of them people say, wait a minute, this stuff looked like poison that was put into the water. And it operates like snake venom. But here, his servant got a full line dose of the snake venom and shook it off. Go ahead.
In the same quarters were possessions of the chief man of the island, whose name was Publius, who received us and lodged us 3 days courteously. And it came to pass that the father of Publius lay sick of a fever and of a bloody flux, to whom Saul entered in and prayed and laid his hands on him and healed him. So when he was done, others also which had diseases in the island came and were healed, who also honored us with many honors. And when we departed, they laded us with such things as were necessary. And after 3 months, we departed in a ship of Alexandria, which had wintered in the isle, whose sign was Castor and Pollux.
All right, let's go to 2 Kings chapter 4. 2 Kings chapter 4. See, there's so many things that we're going to have to deal with coming out of the daughter of Babylon. Remember, coming out of Egypt, Yahweh starved us. We were going through a cleansing and we didn't know it. He says, you've been eating foul so long, I got to cleanse you. They get to the bitter water. Not understanding, a lot of times, that's what cleansing things are. They're bitters. We start crying. We need you to make that water sweet. You brought us out here to kill us. You have to think about how long would it take to get some of the things that are in our system out. You got to think about some of those jabs that we had received growing up. Those are the things that help give us sickle cell. And then you have people who you're carrying the trait. I mean, so it has altered our existence. So now if two people get together who have the sickle cell trait, but neither one of them have sickle cell, they then develop or produce a child who has sickle cell. So these things have altered our DNA. How long is it going to take for that to come out of us? And are we able to endure as Yahweh goes through a process of cleansing? 2 Kings chapter 4, and let's start at verse 38.
And Elisha came again to Gilgal, and there was a dearth in the land, and the sons of the prophets were sitting before him.
All right, a dearth this is a famine. All right, they having problem. Whenever there's any kind of climate problem, there's also a food problem. Go ahead.
And he said unto his servant, Set on the great pot, and seethe pottage for the sons of the prophets. And one went out into the field to gather herbs, and found a wild vine.
Now, why would he even be looking for that? Because of the dearth. They're trying to find stuff to eat. Go ahead.
And gathered thereof wild gourds, his lap full, and came and shred them into the pot of pottage, for they knew them not. So they poured out for the men to eat. And it came to pass, as they were eating of the pottage, that they cried out and said, O you man of Elohim, there's death in the pot. And they could not eat thereof.
There's death in the pot. Somebody didn't recognize, hey man, I know what those are. We can't eat those. Go ahead.
But he said, Then bring meal. And he cast it into the pot. And he said, Pour out for the people that they may eat. And there was no harm in the pot. And there came a man from Baal Shalishlah, and brought the man of Elohim bread of the first fruits, 20 loaves of barley, and full of ears of corn and the husk thereof. And he said, Give unto the people that they may eat.
So the thing that we have to see is that in these situations, this is why we pray. When I pray over my food, now this doesn't mean that I'm telling you to go and eat some stuff that's got some mess in it. You do what you can. But understand, even when you read all the ingredients, don't trust that those are all the ingredients. Understand with whom we are dealing. And like I said, if you go to other stores, you're going to find that even though it look like it's the same company, you're going to find that that company made various levels of the same product. Now that's what's really going to cook your noodle. When you find out, wait a minute, so it's more than one Coca-Cola? Now, I know you got different flavors. No. We got whole different everything. See, this is why you can see a television at Walmart for $4.19 and at Target it's $4.95. And you're like, wait a minute. Then you start doing some investigation. They close, but there's a different model number.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened? Walmart made them get it down to a certain price. So what they did, they took some features out of it. So you go get the Target TV and find out that it do stuff that your Walmart TV don't do. Well, you might go get some cookies at one store. Find out that them cookies taste totally different than when you got them at the other store. Now, how is that possible? They have a different level of the same product. Go ahead, bro.
I mean, all you got to look at is how many of us got Whole Foods in our neighborhood?
Right. Well, there's a reason for that. You know, the price of it. You get a little bag in Whole Foods, you done came out with $100 worth of stuff. And we like, look, hey, we all gonna starve if this is what we get. If you and we ain't getting but this much groceries and you done spent $100, they know one thing. It costs to eat right. It costs. And they make sure that it costs so we can't afford it. So how does Yahweh help those who cannot afford? He gave you the power of prayer. Because you're not going to be able to afford everything well, okay, we're going to get this that don't have any impurities in it. You look up and you can buy 2 loaves of bread till next payday. What, this ain't going to work. When you start going at all of the things about, I start examining eggs. And as you start doing the research in eggs, we realized egg kept going higher and higher and higher, and then you need this. Oh, now I need the free range. No, I need this kind. No, I need this kind. Before you know it, you getting the brown eggs. Your egg costs so much. And I have really been flirting with the idea, you know what? I'm just going to get me some chickens. He give you away. Go ahead, bro.
And his servitor said, What should I set this before 100 men? He said again, Give the people that they may eat. For thus saith Yahweh, they shall eat and shall leave thereof. So he set it before them, and they did eat and left thereof according to the word of Yahweh.
So in other words, it wasn't supposed to be enough, but somehow it was enough. So we then have to deal with that. Are we putting our all in the things that we're supposed to be doing for Yahweh? Because when we do what we're supposed to do, he takes care of those things. Remember, it says that the Spirit makes intercession for you with utterances that you can't even say. So you know what to pray about based on what you know. But there's other stuff that you didn't know. You think the angel of Yahweh didn't already know? When people go to do this research and they said, we found this in the food. You think the angel didn't already know that? So you went to go and pray for one thing. My alternator is broke. Yahweh, I ain't got the money for an alternator. And I really need to get this alternator fixed so I can get it here. And then the angel come and ball up that prayer, throw down. No, look, this is what he need. This and this. Okay. You keep trying to figure out, I keep trying to fix this alternator and it don't get fixed. You had a bigger problem. You just didn't know it. The angel threw that prayer out. Said, no. This is what he need. Go ahead, brother. Did you finish that?
Yes.
Let's go to Mark chapter 16. Mark chapter 16, and we're going to start that at verse 12. See, we knew the evil was coming when all the powers that be started buying up all the farmland. Whenever you got a so-called computer mogul who has all this money, why the hell you buying farms? If the land has some computer chips in it, what it got to do with you? You know we on the way for some problems. Mark chapter 16, let's start at verse 12.
After that, he appeared in another form unto two of them, as they walked, and went into the country. And they went and told it unto the residue, neither believed they them. Afterward he appeared unto the 11 as they sat at meat, and upbraided them with their unbelief and hardness of heart, because they believed not them which had seen him after he was risen. And he said unto them, Go you into all the world, and preach the gospel to every creature. He that believes and is baptized
He that
shall be
believes
saved.
and is baptized. It's a two-step process. He that believes and is baptized. You realize that as they put these individuals on TV and they saying all of this stuff, that they the leader of the Israelites, they had thousands of people marching, not one of them baptized? Not one? Go ahead.
He that believes and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believes not shall be damned. And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name shall they cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them.
Stop. Saul had the serpent bit him. Didn't cause him the same issues that it caused everybody else. He said if they drink any deadly thing. Now, I wouldn't go to the garage and try to consume, you know what I'm saying, the oil. Let me see if Yahweh saved me. Baby, give me that antifreeze. No, you're going to die. They said, tempt you not, Elohim. Hold on now. That don't mean I'm going to do it on purpose now. Go ahead.
They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. So then, after the Adonai had spoken unto them, he was received up into heaven, and sat on the right hand of Elohim. And they went forth and preached everywhere, the Adonai working with them, and confirming the word with signs following. Amen.
All right. So then we understand that there is a planned effort to make sure that there is a quarrel with this covenant. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 26. But Yahweh provides a way out for us. But when we spend all our time on the way out, that means you didn't do any of the things that you're supposed to do for him. See, this is the plan of the adversary. See, if you get to that point, oh my goodness, man, all this stuff is foul. So now we're going to spend all our time farming. Then we get ready to put out the class. Class don't go out. You know what happened? Oh man, they was planting turnips, so they couldn't check the video. Well, what happened? We need to do this over here. Oh no, it was a brother was tilling the ground. Right. See, the adversary wants to get you busy, so that you're so busy, you're not taking care of Yahweh's business. Because you're putting all your focus on taking care of yours. Leviticus chapter 26, and let's start this at verse 14.
But if you will not hearken unto me, and will not do all these commandments, and if you shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that you will not do all my commandments, but that you break my covenant, I also will do this unto you. I'll even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning ague, that shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of heart, and you shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it.
Right. So then when we consider these things, understand, it was already told to us what was going to happen. Go ahead.
And I'll set my face against you, and you shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you, and you shall flee when none pursues you. And if you will not yet for all this hearken unto me, then I'll punish you 7 times more for your sins. And I'll break the pride of your power, and I'll make your heaven as iron, and your earth as brass. And your strength shall be spent in vain, for your land shall not yield her increase, neither shall the trees of the land yield their fruits. And if you walk contrary unto me, and will not hearken unto me, I will bring 7 times more plagues upon you, according to your sins. And I'll also send wild beasts among you, which shall rob you of your children, and destroy your cattle, and make you few in number, and your highways shall be desolate. And if you will not be reformed by me by these things, but will walk contrary unto me, then will I also walk contrary unto you, and will punish you yet 7 times for your sins. And I'll bring a sword upon you, that shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant.
I will bring a sword upon you that shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. So we already have a quarrel already with our Elohim based on our actions. But our enemy also knows that they can multiply the effectiveness of the quarrel against us by diverting our attention in other areas. Go ahead.
And when you are gathered together within your cities, I'll send a pestilence among you, and you shall be delivered into the hand, of the enemy.
All right. So now let's go into another level of this. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 7. See, the enemies of our people are making sure that we are being directed in a way that causes a deeper level of that quarrel that our Elohim already has against us. Deuteronomy chapter 7, and we're going to read verses 1 through 12.
When Yahweh your Elohim shall bring you into the land whither you go to possess it, and have cast out many nations before you, the Hittites, the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than you. And when Yahweh Elohim shall deliver them before you, you shall smite them and utterly destroy them. You shall make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them. Neither shall you make marriages with them. Your daughter you shall not give unto his son, nor his daughter shall you take unto your son.
Now, and he doesn't go into a racist rant about this. This has a specific cause and effect that is going to come from this. Go ahead.
For they will turn away your son from following me.
They are going to turn your son away from following me. He didn't say, well, you know what, these people are not black enough. Because understand, the groups that he's talking about, you know, when he says you should not make covenants with these people, you do understand that the Canaanites are colored people just like us. This has nothing to do with, he's saying, oh, you don't marry the white girl. These black people. He said, no, don't you make no covenants with them. They are going to cause your son to stop following me. Ain't no difference than we sitting up there saying, son, don't date that one of them hood rats. And I'm saying, they got male rats too. You had to tell your daughter, don't you go down there and get one of them male rats. Them male rats gonna cause everybody a problem. Them male rats come in the family, and the whole family got to deal with them rats. Yahweh is telling us up front. Go ahead.
That they may serve other gods. So will the anger of Yahweh be kindled against you and destroy you suddenly. But thus shall you deal with them. You shall destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves and burn their graven images with fire. For you are an holy people unto Yahweh your Elohim. Yahweh your Elohim has chosen you to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Now understand, when Daniel was showed to be a special person, he got attacked by all of the other people around. So understand what happens to special people. I hope you're ready. Go ahead.
Yahweh did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because you were more in number than any people, for you were the fewest of all people.
All right, now let's go. Did you finish that?
No.
Go ahead.
But because Yahweh loved you, and because he would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, has Yahweh brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Know therefore that Yahweh your Elohim, he is El, the faithful El, which keeps covenant and mercy with them that love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations.
Right, 1,000 generations. People say, well, you know, that was back in biblical times. I don't remember when biblical times ended. 1,000 generations. So then, those who aim to seize on our land and our heritage, it's needful for you to be busy doing something else so that you can't focus on what's happening with the covenant. Go ahead.
And repays them that hate him to their face, to destroy them. He will not be slack to him that hates him. He will repay him to his face. You shall therefore keep the commandments and the statutes and the judgments which I command you this day to do them. Wherefore it shall come to pass, if you hearken to these judgments and keep and do them, that Yahweh your Elohim shall keep unto you the covenant and the mercy which he sware unto your fathers.
All right. Let's go to, I want to go to Genesis chapter 28, and we're going to read a few verses out of this, because you're going to see this concept before there was law. So you have a lot of people that say, this is that old covenant law, such and such and such and such. Okay. So why do we have this before there is law? That there is a concept here. Genesis chapter 28, and we're going to read verses 6 through 9.
When Esau saw that Esaac had blessed Jacob, and sent him away to Paddan Aram, to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, You shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan.
You shall not take a wife of daughters of these people. There's something wrong with these people. And it ain't about their color. It's nothing about that, because them people look like us. Their culture ain't right. And their culture is going to turn you. Go ahead.
And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother, and was gone to Paddan Aram. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Esau his father, then went Esau unto Ishmael, and took on to the wives which he had, Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth, to be his wife.
All right. So then if we look at that there was a situation where the father was just not pleased. The parents are not pleased if you marry this type of woman. I want y'all to pay attention to some of the situations that we're having where, these white supremacists are coming. They're shooting up our buildings. They're shooting up our people. They're doing all of these things. And each one of them say what? They felt like they were being replaced. What is giving them that thought process? Now, the white supremacist feels as if he's being replaced. What makes him feel that way? To understand a feeling of one's senses, it becomes necessary to block another sense, because sometimes senses override one another. Back in the days, Hollywood used to produce silent movies. The story was told through visual elements only. If you turn the television sound off and just watch it, what conclusion would you come away with concerning the direction of this world? I want you to go to Numbers chapter 36. But what I want you guys to do, when you're watching television, when you get ready to see the commercials, when they come on, I want you to turn the volume off. And I want you to pay attention to what you see. Why? What makes a person who has white privilege feel like they're being replaced? Have you noticed that there's nothing but interracial relationships shown on television? Like, especially when it comes to us, there's just no more straight black family. So this is what the white supremacist is saying. That, wait a minute, it's them with our people. This is infuriating him. Now, I want you to draw the lines. We did a thing concerning who owned the media. And one of those things, we found out, the Redstone family, a Jewish family, owned a humongous amount of the network. This is all Jewish control. But if you say it's Jewish control, then you're anti-Semitic. So then understand who's in charge of these programs. When advertisers come, they can say what things they want. So then you have this image being put out. You notice you don't see a whole lot of images of Jewish interracial marriage. You notice when the Jewish person marries somebody, that person is required to convert. They never lose their culture, but you somehow keep losing yours. Interesting how that's working. So then when you talk about the quarrel of the covenant, if these people are presenting an image that infuriates another group, that group don't go and attack the Jews. That group came and attacked us over and over and over. But what is giving them that idea? The images that they're seeing on television. The television that's owned by who? I'm going to need you to connect the dots. Now let's go to Numbers chapter 36.
And the chief fathers of the families of the children of Gilead, the son of Micah, the son of Manasseh, of the family of the sons of Joseph, came near and spake before Moshe and before the princes, the chief fathers of the children of Israel. And they said, Yahweh commanded my master to give the land for an inheritance by lot to the children of Israel. And my master was commanded by Yahweh to give the inheritance of Zelophehad, our brother, unto his daughters. And if they be married to any of the sons of the other tribes of the children of Israel, then all their inheritance be taken from the inheritance of our fathers, and shall be put to the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they are received.
Right. So if you end up controlling the woman, let the thing go to the woman, then whoever receives the woman is going to receive the inheritance. I need y'all to pay attention to the things that are happening in front of us, to the images that are being presented on television. As they kill and lock up as many of us as possible, and they seize on our women, then that inheritance goes to the man who gets her. Go ahead.
So shall it be taken from the lot of our inheritance. And when the jubilee of the children of Israel shall be, then shall their inheritance be put onto the inheritance of the tribe whereunto they are received. So shall their inheritance be taken away from the inheritance of the tribe of our fathers. And Moshe commanded the children of Israel according to the word of Yahweh, saying, the tribe of the sons of Joseph hath said well.
Now, there was not a law concerning this. They had to sit down and figure this out. Wait a minute. If you let this go, now this was your ruling, but I'm telling you in about another 30 years, when the Jubilee happened, we're going to be screwed. Moshe had to sit down. You know what? Wait a minute. Let me go to Yahweh. Yahweh said, they right? They right. So we have to make an amendment to the law. Go ahead.
Also shows you a closed mouth don't get fed, because if they just conferred amongst each other and never brought it up, 30 years later, man, see, we knew this was going to happen, but did you say something about it?
Now that's us. See, This is us before captivity. What you just talked about is us after captivity. Because after captivity, all we do is argue to each other. We have a pothole in the street. We don't call the roads
DOT.
and we don't call Department of Transportation. We don't call them. We call James down. Man, you see this big old hole in the damn street. Does James work for the Department of Transportation? So what you call him for? There's a department that fixed that. But you don't feel like calling those people. Or you feel like as a slave, you don't have the authority to call those people. So you just argue amongst yourselves. That's why the things don't get fixed in our neighborhood. We want to claim racism. That ain't racism. That's you too scared to make the phone call. Call the people whose job that is and tell them, y'all need to come out here and fix this. But see, a slave wasn't even allowed to look a white person in the eye. And you go down to certain real country areas, and you gonna find that some of them look, what you looking me in my eye for, boy? You looking at people. Oh, y'all still look down over here? You playing, right? That not calling is the same thing. You don't want to look them in the eye and tell them what they need to come fix in your neighborhood. So you just argue amongst one another. Go ahead.
This is the thing which Yahweh does command concerning the daughters of Zelophehad, saying, let them marry to whom they think best. Only to the family of the tribe of their father shall they marry.
So not only does he give that, but he keeps going. You're going to marry from the tribe of your father. Go ahead.
So shall not the inheritance of the children of Israel remove from tribe to tribe. For every one of the children of Israel shall keep himself to the inheritance of the tribe of his fathers.
So then it just went past the daughters of Zelophehad. He said, every one of the tribe of their fathers shall stay with their tribe. Then you find those people with their twisted tribal chart so that they can get everybody in their congregation. Next thing you know, you have them saying, well, the Hispanics is this tribe. And the brothers are Judah. Next thing you know, you see a brother, and he got some pollo right there. Where you go, man? Where you get with Hispanic sister from? That's another tribe. How you allowed to marry her? Oh, I guess you didn't read that part of the tribal breakdown, huh? See, they make these fake charts and then break their own chart. You see how the fake chart broke you up? You didn't put her in a different tribe. Yet when it came time to marry, it was okay for you to marry her. Go ahead, bro.
And every daughter that possesses an inheritance in any tribe of the children of Israel shall be wife unto one of the family of the tribe of her father, that the children of Israel may enjoy every man the inheritance of his fathers. Neither shall the inheritance remove from one tribe to another tribe, but every one of the tribes of the children of Israel shall keep himself to his own inheritance. Even as Yahweh commanded Moshe, so did the daughters of Zelophehad.
All right, that's as far as I want to go there. Let's go to Hosea chapter 7. All right, Hosea chapter 7, and we're just going to read verses 8 and 9.
Ephraim, he has mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Strangers have devoured his strength, and he knows it not. Yes, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knows it not.
So then when you look at what Yahweh is saying, he is a cake not turned. He has mixed himself to a point where he is only cooked on one side. The other side is unusable. The other side is raw. So we have this situation where he says they have mingled so much that strangers are devouring his strength, and he doesn't even know. that this has happened unto him. And I want to go into something. I don't know if any of you guys have seen this. I want you to first of all read this. Go to that article, and you pull that article up.
Yep.
This is a Times of Israel article, and I want you guys to see something, just how, you know, we are toyed with in some of these things. In the Times of Israel, they did an article about Drake's new video, and it's a Jewish wedding, and he's marrying 23 brides. All right? Now, I need for you to pay attention to certain things. Even Drake himself, when you talk about a culture vulture, he is able to play both sides of this fence. All right? Because he's so-called black and Jewish, but he's Jewish through his mother. All right? Now, if you're Jewish through your mother, and he has 23 brides, all right? You understand the only one that's going to be Jewish is the one white Jewish baby that he had. I need you to, this is the perfect visual to get how they played this, I'm Jewish through my mother. So he can have babies by all these women in this picture, but the only one who will be officially Jewish is the one who mama was Jewish. I need for y'all to pay attention. There are certain things, and I want to read the article because I want you to hear what Times of Israel said about the thing. Because there's things that are happening along the way that we are not paying attention to. Go ahead, brother. I'll start reading that article for me.
Drake's new video features a Jewish wedding and 23 brides. Multi-platinum selling artist invokes his Jewish background in an unorthodox wedding as part of the surprise drop of his new album, Honestly, Nevermind. As part of the surprise drop for his new album, Honestly, Nevermind, Canadian Jewish musician Drake released a music video for his new song, Falling Back.
Now, you know, if we call him Jewish, then somehow we're being anti-Semitic. This is why I like to read articles that come from a place that ain't here. And let's let those people say these things. So when people come back with the anti-whatever it is, make sure you aim it at the right place. Go ahead.
That features him as the groom in a wedding officiated by an Orthodox rabbi in a black hat.
So he's got a rabbi in it. He has a Jewish wedding. He even follows some Jewish traditions, but you're not going to recognize him because you don't follow that. But he's openly talking to two groups at the same time. Go ahead.
There's nothing orthodox or safe for work about the wedding itself, though, which features 23 brides. That punchline isn't revealed until a few minutes into the video when the rabbi officiating the wedding ceremony, which takes place under a white floral chuppah, asks the bride, "Do you commit yourself to being a good wife according to our values and traditions?" To which she answers, "I do," and is then echoed by 22 other women in white behind her. After each bride receives her ring and gives the yarmulke, Drake, some form of a secret handshake or high five, the camera pans to a person who appears to be Drake's Jewish mother, Sandy Graham, a blonde woman dressed in black, and who bears a striking resemblance to Barbara Streisand. I think he's really taking this one seriously, she remarks. Drake has never been married, but does have a son, Adonis, whose existence was brought to the public eye during a feud between him and a rival rapper, Pusha T. At one point, one of the brides is lifted in a chair for the aura as she waves a napkin in the air. Traditionally, as the bride and groom are hoisted on chairs during the aura, they hold onto a napkin to symbolize their unity. A few moments later, Drake is also seen dancing with a napkin in hand and later in his mouth. Toward the end of the video, Drake and his 23 brides pose for pictures in what loosely resembles the photo shoots that sometimes accompany the Bedikin ceremony, where the groom veils his bride and families wish blessings upon the happy couple. The video was produced by Adam Rodness, a Canadian actor and producer who has also starred in a short film called The Cedar.
Uh-huh.
The rabbi is played by Ari Sicknick, whose social media pages appear to identify him as a Toronto-based IT specialist who formerly worked for Associated Hebrew Schools of Toronto.
So he made sure that he got Jewish people to present this Jewish thing, and there are other things that are happening in there that are completely Jewish, and we see this black guy. And I watched another interview, and they said, you know, Drake is what we've always wanted to be, black and Jewish. Now this Jewish people who said this, okay? Now why would they want to be both of those things? Come on now, I'm gonna need you to read between the lines. Why would they want to be both of those things? If you Jewish and you own everything, why you want to be black? There's a reason. See, we got it, but it's supposed to be theirs. Go ahead.
Sicknick's Twitter page shares a steady stream of pro-Israel and conservative memes. This isn't the first time the multi-platinum selling artist has invoked his Jewish background in his musical career. Drake posed with Kiddush cup and Sabbath candles for the cover of his 2012 album, Take Care. And he staged a different Jewish tradition, his own Rebar Mitzvah, in the music video for his single, Heifer. He also restaged his bar mitzvah in a Saturday Night Live sketch. Last year, on a mixtape, he rapped, "I should probably go to yeshiva."
You know, when we look at, you know, some of these things, and you see what it's doing to our culture, you look at the Jewish-controlled music and entertainment industry, you have a situation where somebody like this gets to play both sides of the fence. When you get into trying to research some of the stuff that happened with Takeoff getting shot, you have this thing comes in where people have to pay protection money when they go to certain states. And some of these have these ties. But you then watch some videos where some of those guys say, well, you know what? How is it that the white boys don't have to pay this? These things only seem to be happening to us. So when you do this, so certain people can walk in and they're not having to pay the $20,000 fee to go to these cities, but our people are. Now, how is it that certain individuals are able to slide through and this is not happening unto them? You're not watching the Jewish connection that's being thrown. You're so busy listening to the music, but he's talking to them. This is Times of Israel talking about his video. When you looked at the video, did you see all of that? When you look at his videos, do you see that he's letting them know who he is? So then they know how not to come at him because of what he is. Do you recognize that? Go ahead, bro.
What did Leo Cohen say? I can go to any ghetto in America.
Uh-huh.
Ain't nobody gonna touch me.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Right. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 3.
My son, forget not my law, but let your heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to you. Let not mercy and truth forsake you. Bind them about your neck. Write them upon the table of your heart. So shall you find favor and good understanding in the sight of Elohim and man. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart. And lean not onto your own understanding.
Right. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart. And the adversaries, those who try to find a quarrel with us in this covenant concerning our Elohim, they're going to give us everything to not focus on this covenant. Go ahead.
In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths.
In all your ways acknowledge him, he shall direct your path. He will direct you away from something without even explaining to you why he directing you away from it. You'll be trying to do something, it won't work out. You won't figure out till 6 months later. That person was who? You upset. I'm trying, I really love that girl. You don't find out till 6 months later. She was a what? He directed your path. The problem is we don't like the way he directs our path. See? Because you keep listening to all these people lying to you, talking about God talked to me last night. You thinking God gonna tell, look, my son, you know, in the James Earl voice, my son, she is not worthy of you. That's what you expecting. That ain't gonna happen. He's gonna give you some kind of trouble that's gonna lead you away from that. You will understand that 6 months later if he show you then. Go ahead.
Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear Yahweh and depart from evil. It shall be health to your navel and marrow to your bones.
It shall be health to your navel. Let me tell you something. First and foremost, whatever health plan you got, if you ain't got Yahweh, you screwed. This is the top of your health plan right here. You can get everything you can try and get as much organic as possible. You better have Yahweh in your health plan. Go ahead.
You know, it's interesting, that statement. As you get older, you start to understand some stuff like health to your navel and marrow to your bones. You understand what happens when the marrow goes out between your bones? That's constant aching and pain.
Hey, brother, when Yahweh deals with a punishment, he deals so deep that it's absolutely frightening. When you understand that all of these things are coming upon us because we decided to not walk in the culture. Then we got to watch other people toy with us. When you talk about this video, you got to understand this individual is exactly what they're trying to make. This image. This is what they're making, a mix between us and them. Toying with both sides, pretending to be us on one side, pretending to be them on the other side. This is what happens when you don't walk in your culture. Somebody else walk in your culture and pretend to be you. Go ahead.
Honor Yahweh with your substance and with the first fruits of all your increase. So shall your barns be filled with plenty, and your presses shall burst out with new wine.
Honor Yahweh with your substance and with the first fruits of all your increase. Our problem is because we don't know where to put, okay, I'm not sure if Yahweh is here or there. So we will donate everywhere, saying surely one of them will count. Jake, something else. And all these people have been donating to Israel. Israel been getting a lot of money from the Christians. That Christian Fellowship for the Jews it brings in billions. When those people realize that they've been hustled, they're not going to be very happy. Go ahead.
My son, despise not the chastening of Yahweh, neither be weary of his correction. For whom Yahweh loves, he corrects, even as a father the son in whom he delights.
And if you understand that chastening is going to keep you from condemnation with the world. So while other people are trying to skate without having any turmoil in their life, you have to understand that chastening is what's going to keep you from ultimate condemnation. Go ahead.
Happy is the man that finds wisdom, and the man that gets understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold, which is more precious than rubies, and all the things you can desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold upon her, and happy is everyone that retains her.
She is a tree of life. The tree of life is the one that make you live forever. Go ahead.
Yahweh by wisdom has founded the earth. By understanding has he established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths are broken up, and the clouds drop down the dew. My son, let not them depart from your eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto your soul, and grace to your neck. Then shall you walk in your way safely, and your foot shall not stumble. When you lie down, you shall not be afraid. Yes, you shall lie down, and your sleep shall be sweet. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked, when it comes. For Yahweh shall be your confidence, and shall keep your foot from being taken.
Right. You're going to do what you can. And Yahweh going to take care of the rest. Go ahead.
Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of your hand to do it. Say not unto your neighbor, Go and come again, and tomorrow I will give you, when you have it by you. Devise not evil against your neighbor, seeing he dwells securely by you. Strive not with a man without cause, if he has done you no harm. Envy you not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. For the froward is abomination to Yahweh, but his secret is with the righteous. The curse of Yahweh is in the house of the wicked, but he blessed the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he gives grace unto the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools.
All right. That's all that we're going to do for today. Hopefully we are paying attention to the things that are happening among us and pay attention to the signs that we are getting closer to the redemption of the children of Israel. But we have to also understand that Yahweh's time and our time is not the same kind of time. What's a blink of an eye to him may be 200, 300 years to us. So let us keep that in consideration, because if the good man of the house knew what time the robber was going to come, he would have stayed and secured his house. We're not going to know what time that is, but if we're taking care of our business, we don't have to worry about what time it is. You're taking care of your business, you ain't got to keep looking at the clock. You know, what time the manager getting here? Oh, get ready to do 1 o'clock. You keep watching. What you keep watching for? If he's taking care of your business, you ain't got to worry about what time the manager coming. Don't worry about what time Yahshua coming. Take care of your business. Blessed is he who, when he finds him, so doing when he comes. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.